Hey, this is David McElfresh with this week's Friday Fresh Take. So, this week I'm talking about one of my favorite investing strategies. I personally like to call this the real estate investment leapfrog. It's a really, really cool tool, tactic for people that are just getting into real estate investing in a way to make it approachable for a large group of people. So, here's the problem that most people run into, right? When they want to go in and let's say they want to invest in real estate and buy properties, it's expensive, and the terms and the loan conditions that you typically would get as an investor aren't nearly as good if you were owning and buying a property for yourself. And here's a perfect example, right? Let's say we're looking at buying a $500,000 property. If you're coming in as an investor and you want to purchase that home, typically a lender is going to force you to put or require you to put 25% down, which in that situation is about $125,000. Okay. Um, if you're living there and you're buying it as a personal residence, you really only have to put down, let's say 5%, right? You could even do less than that, but 5% is an example of what you could put down. And in that situation, it's only $25,000. Significant difference, 125 versus the 25,000 down. So that's a big difference right there in the down payment. The other big piece is the interest rate. Okay. Often, let's say it's a 4% interest rate if you are living there and it's your primary residence. Lenders will usually bump that up by a full percentage, maybe a percentage and a half. So now you're paying 5.5% on that loan. And obviously, that's going to be more expensive, higher payments every month, all that kind of stuff. So it's just a little bit more difficult to make that work with the numbers. So, knowing those pieces, here's one way that I like to approach that. And I've had some clients approach it. We'll come in and we're first going to buy that property, and we're going to buy it as your primary residence. Okay. You're going to live there, and we're going to plan for you to live there for about 4 to 5 years. Okay. So during this time, here's the beauty. This is what you're focusing on for the 4 to 5 years. First of all, you're starting to pay off your loan. Okay. So you're reducing that initial loan amount a little bit. Each year, you're getting some appreciation. Okay. On average, homes in the United States appreciate at about 4% a year. Okay, 4.5 is typically the average. And then when your loan decreases, but the property appreciates, this equity is increasing, which is really what we're targeting. Okay. The other nice piece is that as you're going through that process, those 4 to 5 years, we're trying to remove your PMI. Typically, if you come in and you invest less than 20% in your down payment, you're probably going to have PMI, private mortgage insurance. And so we can try to remove that, which is a pretty cool deal during those first few years. And then lastly, during that initial period, we're just doing any renovations, fixing the place up a little bit, getting it in a good situation where you feel like, yep, I know the home, I'm familiar with it, and all that kind of good stuff. So now we are in this point where about 4 to 5 years, you've hit the magic number, which typically I found is if you're close to the 25% equity threshold, okay, if you've got about 25% ownership in the home, that is the magic number where now you can actually turn around and your rent income will now start to cover most of your expenses. That's kind of like your break even point. Super exciting, really, really awesome point, because now you can turn around, you can rent the property, you can still have money coming in for fixes, maybe large capital expenditures, covering vacancies, all that kind of stuff, and paying off your mortgage and break even, which is a awesome high five moment. So let's do this. I want to take a little bit of a look at the numbers and how we got to this point. In this example, we're going to look at a $300,000 home, and at purchase, we're going to come in and it's really just 5% down. Okay. So we're putting about $15,000, 5% equity. So we've got $285,000 remaining on the mortgage. Okay. As we move forward, let's first focus on the value of the home. We're just going to assume that it's going to appreciate at 4% over the course of the next 4 years. That's kind of the historical average, is about 4% appreciation. Okay. So after 4 years, we're sitting at about $350,000 is the new value of the home. Okay. Now, the mortgage over the course of 4 years, you're paying down about $4,000 to $5,000 on the mortgage each year. So now the mortgage is about $266,000. And here's what's awesome is that this equity number here now goes from $15,000 right as you purchased it and is up to $85,000 just after 4 years, which hits that equity threshold of really, really close to 25%, as we talked about. So this is the golden moment where we say, sweet, we can move out. We've got options. What do we do next? All right, so we've just hit our 25% equity in the property. And now it's time for the leapfrogging mechanism to kick in. Okay. We're going to go ahead and we're going to move out of the property. Ideally, you've saved up a little bit of a down payment for the next home. Literally, the plan now is you're going to save $15,000, $20,000 over the last 4 years. You're going to use that money to go buy the next home, and you're going to move into that home with a simple, small down payment, really, really beneficial loan terms. And that's now going to be your new primary residence. And the one that you were just living in, now it's going to become your rental. Okay. Somebody's going to move in. They're going to pay your rent. They're going to pay your mortgage. They're going to go ahead and take care of all these expenses. We've budgeted in some extra expenses for maintenance, capital expenditures, all that kind of stuff. And now you have a really, really awesome asset that is building that you only had to put in $15,000 to get that business started. So you can do this as many times as you'd like. I've got clients right now that have done this 2 or 3 times already. You can speed this process up by putting more of a down payment up initially or paying it off a little bit faster. Or you can take 4 or 5 years to get to that point where you feel really comfortable and then jumping into the next one. The exciting thing about this strategy is that it's minimal down payment, especially early on, and you can really jump in from one investment to the next pretty quickly, right? Within a 4-year window. So let me know if you have any questions, shoot me a direct message, and otherwise we'll see you next week. Cheers.